come to the question, that is epiglottis is made up of, we already discussed it, that epiglottis is made up of the elastic cartilage, right? But there are two options, it is thin or thick. Hyaline and fibrous is cancelled now, right? But it is thin or thick. So in NCERT it is mentioned that it is made up of the thin elastic cartilage, right? So answer is A, it is made up of the thin elastic cartilage. Now we already know that the epiglottis is the policeman of the oral cavity, right? Trachea, which extends till mid-thoracic cavity at the level of which vertebrae? So it is the line of the NCERT in which it is mentioned that the it is present in the region of the fifth vertebrae, right? So answer is the fifth thoracic vertebrae. Fifth thoracic vertebrae. Clear? Now come to the, this is the diagram of the expiration or and inspiration, that is exhalation and inhalation, right? Here is shown movement of the thorax during the breathing. Select incorrect statements, right? When we take that first diagram, right, what will happen? That one is the, what is that? The air expelled from lungs, right? That air expelled from the lungs, right? When we talk about this, these arrows shows the downward movement. That means we already studied that in summary. In inspiration, the diaphragm contracts, right? So when diaphragm contracts, then what will happen? The shape of diaphragm gets like that, right? That is the, this diagram shows the inspiration, it shows the expiration, right? Expiration, then inspiration, right? And what will happen now? Air, when air goes out in that is when we inhale the air, so diaphragm get contracted, so diaphragm get flat in that, right? In inspiration, what will happen? Diaphragm flat, right? Ribs and sternum, ribs sternum movement is upward and outward, right? So that diagram shows that the upward and outward, upward and outward, right? And same as that, so simply that in that reason the ribs and the sternum return to its relaxed state or its original position. In that, diaphragm gets contracted again, right? The air is expelled out, the volume of thoracic cavity is decreased here, right? The volume of thoracic cavity is decreased here. So in that question, what will happen now? 2.5 increases dorsoventral volume, right? It increases the dorsoventral volume. 1.4, that is 1 ka 4, that decreases the anteroposterior volume. 1.3 decreases the anteroposterior volume or decrease. So is answer. Select the incorrect statements. So incorrect statements are the 2 and 4, right? Clear? Now the trachea, primary bronchi. Now the next question is trachea, primary bronchi, secondary and tertiary initial bronchi are supported by, they are supported by the incomplete cartilaginous rings, which is the which is made up of the hyaline cartilage, right? It is made up of the hyaline cartilage. So fourth answer is C, right? So answer of fourth is C. The branching network of alveoli of the following complete the lungs: trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli. What kind of structures make the branching network, right? It say branching network, that means the bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli, because they have the branches. Trachea have no branching network, right? It have two branches, but when we talk about inside the lung, so these are the branching networks which complete the lung, right? So answer is Bombay. Pleural fluid helps in, we already discussed it. Pleural fluid helps in, it helps in reducing the friction, right? It helps in to prevent the collapsing both the pleural membrane, right? So in all these, actually in all these, it reduces the heat production. No, it's not related with the heat production, and it is just a fluid without any function. It's a fluid but not without any function, right? So its answer is Bombay, right? It reduces the friction, but the most appropriate answer of it prevents from the infection, it prevents from the shocks, it prevents from the jerks, right? Retake of that question. Come to the sixth question, pleural fluid. What is pleural fluid? That is the fluid which is present in between the pleura, that is visceral and the parietal pleura, right? Visceral pleura, parietal pleura, in both visceral pleura and parietal pleura, what will happen? That pleural fluid prevents from the, it acts as a shock absorber, right? It prevents from the entry of the microbes, right? So we cannot say that capturing of the oxygen is not related with it, right? It reduces function, not exactly, right? Not exactly. Reduces heat production, no. But now what will happen is just a fluid without any function. No, it's not just a fluid without any function. It has function, it's preventive function, right? But in those options it is the correct most, so answer is D, right? The part starting with 1 up to 2 constituent the conducting part, that is starting from the external nostrils. It starts from the external nostrils, right, up to terminal bronchioles. Clear? Right, up to terminal bronchioles and conducting part, while the 3 forms the exchange part. This is the line of the NCRT. So its answer is C, external nostrils up to terminal bronchioles, which constituent the conducting part, while the third line, that is the alveoli, which forms the exchange part. Clear? This is the steps of the respiration, right? We already discussed it, right? We already discussed it. First is the transportation of air from atmosphere to alveoli, clears the air from foreign body, humidifies the air, brings air to the body temperature, diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the blood and the atmospheric air, right? So conducting and exchange part performs which one of the following mentioned function respectively, right? Conducting part, so its answer is conducting and exchange part. That means there are two kinds of answer, right? Conducting and exchange part. So conduction of 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's conduction, but that is the exchange part. So its answer is A. You can see here in between these commas are there, but here that sign which separate it from that category. Clear? So that's why the answer is A. Following are the steps of the respiration. Arrange them in order to their occurrence. What will happen? First, the atmospheric air is drawn in and carbon dioxide is released out by the breathing. Exactly, it's the first step. It is also given in the NCERT, right? It's the exact line of NCERT. Transportation of gases by blood. Exactly. Diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the blood and tissues. Bilkul, right? Diffusion of oxygen, carbon dioxide across the alveolar membrane. Exactly. Utilization of oxygen by the cells and release of the carbon dioxide. So all these are already properly arranged in their sequence of the occurrence. So answer is A, right? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now S dash of carbon dioxide is transported by the RBCs, and we know that through RBC 20 to 25% of carbon dioxide is transported, right, as the carbaminohemoglobin, 70% in the form of bicarbonates, right, and 7% through the plasma. So correct answer is C. Now the diffusion membrane is made up of, what? Diffusion membrane is made up of the thin squamous epithelium of the alveoli, the endothelium of the alveolar capillaries, the basement membrane. That means its answer is all of the above. All these three layers form the diffusion membrane, which thickness is less than 1 millimeter, right? Major part of carbon dioxide is transported by the bicarbonates. We already discussed in that question. See that 70% major portion in the form of the bicarbonates, right? So answer, 12th answer is B. Now what will happen in next 13? The binding of oxygen with hemoglobin depends upon. The binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin, it depends upon, mainly it depends upon the partial pressure, but these all are the other factors which affects the oxygen binding with the hemoglobin, right? So this is the line of NCERT. So answer is all of the above, right? So answer is all of the above, because if the partial pressure of oxygen is reduced, then the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is increased, HIN increased, temperature increased, right? And if it is increased, then all these three are decreased. Shape of oxygen dissociation curve is, if the condition is normal, right, then its shape is the sigmoid curve. We already discussed it, right? Every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver around dash ml of oxygen to tissues, that is 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues under the normal physiological conditions, right? Don't mark the 20 ml. 20 ml is carried out by the 15 gram of hemoglobin, and 20 ml, from 20 ml 5 ml released at the level of tissues, and 15 ml is stored for the strenuous exercises, right? Now come to the next one. From the above mentioned 8 conditions, that is first to 8, high PCO2, high CO2, low PO2, low temperature, low PCO2, high HIN concentration, low HIN, and high temperature, right? 4 conditions which exist in alveoli. So what condition in alveoli? When we talk about the alveoli, we already discussed it. We already discussed in alveoli what will happen if the partial pressure of oxygen increases, pH increases, then HIN decreases, PCO2 decreases, temperature decreases, 2,3 DPG decreases, and this is the most favorable condition for the formation of oxyhemoglobin, right? So now what will happen in that question? See, exist in alveoli, and in alveoli high PO2, exactly, right? Low PO2, no. Low PCO2, exactly. Low HIN, right? So high PO2, low PCO2, low HIN concentration, right? High, no. Low temperature, exactly, in alveoli, because there is partial pressure of oxygen is increased, right? This is not related with that. This is also not related with that. So the 4 conditions, that is 1, 3, 4 and 6 is here, right? 1, 3, 5, 6, no. 1, 3, 4, 6, yes. So answer is Bombay. Clear? And when we talk about the tissue level, again At tissue level, that is the low PCO2, right? So low concentration of partial pressure, right? It's not low, no, low, exactly, right? If the partial pressure of oxygen is low, then the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low? No. At tissue level, it increases. So it is cancelled. At HIN concentration is low? No, it is increases, right? High PCO2, exactly. Low temperature? No. High, exactly, high temperature. So what is the for conditions? That is 2, 5, 7 and 8, right? That is 2, 5, 7 and 8. 2, 5, 7 and 8, that is answer is A. Clear? Now this is the reaction which is solved just in previous summary, right? X is an enzyme and X is here, that is X in as enzyme. It is talking about the carbonic anhydrase, right? It is talking about the carbonic anhydrase enzyme that crystallizing the above reactions, and it is present in the large amount in RBC, right? It is present in RBC as well as plasma both, but when we talk about the large amount, then the large amount is present in the RBC. So answer is the carbonic anhydrase, right? So answer is the carbonic anhydrase. Now, one is in given in question respiratory center first, second the pneumotaxic, third one is the chemosensitive area. It is the medullary rhythmicity area, and both are these present in the pons, right? So the centers which are present in the medulla are pneumotaxic present in pons, right? It is present in pons. It is present in medulla oblongata and it is present near to the medulla oblongata, so we can consider it. So answer is 1 and 3, that is C. Clear? In the above question, the centers area for pons, that is pneumotaxic area center, that is 2, right? Chemosensitive area is highly sensitive for, we already discussed it in summary, that is the chemosensitive area is highly sensitive for the partial pressure of the carbon dioxide and HN concentration both. So correct answer is the C, that is both of the above, right? 22. What will be the PO2 and PCO2 in the atmospheric air compared to those in the alveolar air? Right? What will happen? PCO2 and PO2 in the atmosphere air, right? Compared to those in the alveolar air. So in alveolar air, obviously the PO2 is higher than the PCO2. Clear? And PCO2 is decreases. So PO2 is lesser? No. PO2 higher and PCO2 is higher? No. And PO2 lesser and PCO? No. So correct answer, correct option is the Bombay, right? Because in that question, it is it's comparative study in between the atmospheric air and the alveolar air, and if you have to memorize that partial pressure chart, right? If you memorize that chart, then you have to solve easily that question, right? Now come to the next one. The contraction of diaphragm, right? The contraction of the diaphragm increases the following diameter, right? It's increases contraction of diaphragm, that means it is talking about the inspiration, right? And in inspiration diaphragm is contracted, then what will happen? Ribs and sternum movement is upward and outward, and volume of thoracic cavity increases, right? So in the antero-posterior axis, that is, so the correct answer is the antero-posterior, that is A, right? Now, volume of air involved in breathing movements, it can be estimated by the spirometer, right? It can be estimated by the spirometer. Solve the incorrect statements. Volume of air remaining in the lungs after a normal expiration is called the residual volume. In its definition, it's forced expiration, right? In NCERT, the definition of residual volume is as it is, except one thing. I'll change in that one thing, that is here it must be forcible expiration, but I'll change it. I change it and convert it into normal expiration. So it's wrong statement. When we talk about the residual volume, so that is the volume of air remaining in the lungs after the forcible expiration, and the statement is right. So that statement is wrong. Healthy man can expire or inspire, exactly. Total lung capacity, that is RV plus, okay, and we can write it, that is VC. So yes, so both all these threes are correct and that is wrong. So the correct answer is the A, because in question they asked about the incorrect statement, right? Now see that chapter, that chart, right? What is the value of X in mm of Hg? That is, when we talk about in alveoli, that is 104, right? In Y oxygenated blood, that is alveolar blood, here 40, and at tissue level the value of Z, that is carbon dioxide, it's 45, right? So when we solve all these questions, right, X, that is 104, so answer is A. Y, carbon dioxide, that is 40, so 27, that is Bombay. And Z, that is at the level of tissue carbon dioxide, so 28th answer is C, right? Select the correct statement. Asthma is difficulty in breathing due to the inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles, right? Asthma is a difficulty in breathing due to the perforation of bronchi and bronchioles. No. Emphysema is disorder in which alveolar walls are damaged due to the respiratory surface increase. No, there is a respiratory surface decrease. So this statement is also wrong. 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers 14 ml. No, 4 ml of carbon dioxide, right? At the level of alveoli. So this statement is also wrong. So the correct answer is A. That is, asthma is a difficulty in breathing due to the inflammation of bronchi and the bronchioles, right? 30th, that is, sponges, coelenterates and flatworms exchange the oxygen with carbon dioxide by diffusing in through entire body surfaces. This is the line of NCERT in the respiratory organ. Clear? So answer is B. Earthworm use dash and insects have dash to transport atmospheric air within the bodies. What is the P and S respectively? This is also the, I think, third point of the respiratory organ in NCERT, that is, earthworm use the moist cuticle, right? It's not dry. Don't mark that dry cuticle. It's moist cuticle, and insects have the tracheal tube. So answer is A, right? Now come to the question. See that this is the diffusion membrane, right? This is the diffusion membrane. That one is the basement substance, right? that is RBCs, red blood cells. This is NCRT diagram. This 3 is the blood capillaries. Alveolar wall, right? That fourth one is the alveolar wall, which is one celled thick, right? This is, that fourth one is the alveolar wall. One celled thick, right? So in that question, this is the structure related to the human respiratory system exactly. Identify the incorrect statement. 2 is transporter of carbon dioxide from alveoli to the tissue. Right or wrong? We know that na, through RBC, the transportation of the carbon dioxide and oxygen both occur, and from alveoli to the tissue, right? So 1 is right or wrong? That statement is wrong. Clear? Then deoxygenated blood is carried by the pulmonary artery, right or wrong? Exactly, it's correct. Thickness of respiratory membrane is 0.2 centimeter. No, it's less than 1 mm, right? Diffusion membrane is made up of 2 major membranes. No, it is made up of 3 membranes, right? First one is the alveolar wall, second is the endothelium of the blood capillaries, and third one is the basement membrane. So that statement is also wrong. So the correct option is 1, 3 and D. That is, answer code is this. Clear? So boundaries of the thoracic chamber: ventral sternum on sides by the ribs, lower side by the diaphragm, and dorsal by the vertebral column. We already studied that when we'll discuss about the thoracic cage, right? So which one of the following statements are correct? All statements are correct, right? So answer is the D. Right, all statements are correct, so answer is D. Now come to the next one. 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers around dash ml of carbon dioxide to alveoli, that is 4 ml, right? So answer is C, 34, that is C. Choose the incorrect statement, right? ERV, that is expiratory reserve volume, that is the additional volume of air a person can expire by a forcible expiration. It's forcible expiration. Definition is correct, but the amount is wrong, right? Because its amount is 1000 to 1100 ml, right? Additional volume of air a person can expire by a forcible expiration, but its amount is this. It's not correct, right? It is incorrect. I see total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal expiration, sum of ARV and okay. We see maximum amount of air a person can breathe out after a forced inspiration. FRC, the volume of air remaining in the lung after a normal expiration, it is sum, right? And one more thing, in VC there are for VC there are two definitions given in the NCRT, that is maximum amount of air a person can breathe out after a forced inspiration or breath in after a forced expiration, right? So the incorrect statement is A, so the answer is A, because in question the incorrect statement is asked, right? Now solubility of, next question is, the solubility of carbon dioxide in plasma is roughly how many times more than that of the oxygen, because of in plasma, right, that is 20 to 25 times, right, 20 to 25 times. 36 answer is B. On an average, a healthy, 37th question, on an average, a healthy man can breathe how many times in a minute per minute? That answer is 12 to 16, 70 to 72, no, it's heart rate, right? So the correct answer according to NCRT and even that is normally, that is 12 to 16 cycles per minute, right? Relaxation of diaphragm and intercostal muscles. What will happen here? If the diaphragm get relaxed and intercostal muscles gets relaxed, then what will happen? The volume of thoracic volume is decreases, na, right? Because it occurs at the time of exhalation, right? It occurs at the time of exhalation. So the increased thoracic volume, no. Decreased thoracic volume, yes. Have no effect, no. It's wrong, no. It causes the expiration, right? It occurs during the expiration. Clear? Choose the incorrect statement. Outer pleural membrane is in close contact with the thoracic line. Abdominal muscles have no role in respiration, that is either forceful inspiration or forceful expiration. Abdominal muscles are the additional muscles of inspiration and expiration, right? Right? And role of the oxygen in the regulation of respiratory rhythm is quite insignificant. No, it's very important. So this answer is wrong. So answer is D. Rate of diffusion of gases is depends upon partial pressure gradients of the oxygen and carbon dioxide, correct. Solubility of gases, correct. All these are the lines of the exact NCRT. Thickness of the diffusion membrane, exactly, right. So all answers are correct. So answer is the D, that is all of the above, right. That is all of the above, because all statements are correct. Clear? Each hemoglobin molecule can carry maximum number of dash atoms of oxygen. It is talking about the atoms. If they asked about the molecules, then we will put the answer 4. But when he talk about the atoms, that is the answer is 8. Right? P dash of oxygen is transported through RBC, that is 97% through RBC as oxyhemoglobin. So answer is Bombay. Now come to that question. This is the diagram showing the exchange of gases, right? ये alveolar air, that P is the 104, Q in alveolar air, that is 40, right, 95, U 40. This is systemic artery, pulmonary vein, systemic vein, pulmonary artery, that partial pressure S, that is 45 mm of Hg, and partial pressure of oxygen here, that is 40 mm of Hg. Exactly. Now PQRS are respectively, so P that is 104, Q that is 40. So in all these three options is given, right. Now RS, RS, that is 40 and 45. So answer is C. 8 is that 8 is the pulmonary artery as it carries the deoxygenated blood from heart to alveoli. So answer is A, right?